Welcome to the lifting for October 9th, 2018. I am Joanna Michaels, and I am here with my co-host, Christopher Stephen Jacobs. And tonight's episode is a bit of a creepy one, but besides its importance all alone, it's leading up to the lifting Halloween special, Zombies. Whoop, whoop. Chris is very excited about that.
I wouldn't say that, but okay.
You've been talking about it for a long time. So we hope you join us for that one as well. For those new to hearing us, please visit our website, thelifting2017.wixsite.com/thelifting. There's a lot to see there, and you can go through the site to sign up for Patreon, where we have a lot more that we have to share. You can also go to YouTube and see the complete video library, minus what's on Patreon. And Chris has years and years of work there. And just click into the YouTube search box and type in his name, Christopher S. Jacobs, and you will find him there. So let's get right to this. Chris is going to talk a lot tonight on oppression, coming from the 5 levels, the 5 thrones, the false Sophia code, and photonic energy collection. You may not have heard of any of this before. And so if you have any clarification questions that you need to have answered, please send them to us at thelifting2017@gmail.com. We have received quite a few more questions since the last Q&A we did. So we're thinking that we're going to do another Q&A this month. So ask away. Let us know what you need to have us clarify. But before we get on to this topic, Chris, do you want to read the affirmation and blessing and then just kind of go ahead and get started with the talk?
All right. This one is from Simeon. May all your lives be rich in spirit, as well as material wealth, born anew into a new view of abundance. Change your perceptions of what wealth truly is, and you will be rich in both monetary wealth as well as spiritual wealth. The choice is yours. Simeon. All right. Now I'm just going to go straight into this. This is going to be a little long-winded, but this took a lot of describing. So be patient with this. We have come to discover an aspect to energy collection that is never or seldom touched upon. Granted, this subject is never touched on with any real in-depth information, only that loosh, quote-unquote, is stolen from fear energy. Now, here are some more detailed explanations that may make your skin crawl, but knowing this is crucial to understanding that we, as sovereign sentient beings, can rise above all of the rat race. I will start with the fact that any, and I mean any, of the crap you see on TV, the he said, she said distractions of the day are in effect distracting you away from the fact that most, if not all, of your ailments are caused by energy collection, attachments, and possessions. No one ever wants to take this conversation any further, and they almost always resort to only telling the tale of how the cabal took money for this and covered up that. Which, yes, this too has its importance, but remember this: the cabal needs no money for anything. So any stories on how they started a war for money is simply false. Even though the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers did fund and gain profit by creating wars and skirmishes, this was not, and I repeat, not, the ultimate goal. It's just a cover. You see, you are dealing with an organization that puts their religious beliefs over that of wealth. Even though they are programmed to acquire, and that acquiring was centered on the fact that the wealth would go to their masters. They are but puppets. Puppets that feel that they are in control of their domain, when in fact they gave it to their quote-unquote gods so very long ago. Granted, we've already discussed energy collection from energy collectors on the false Earth grid But did you know that there actually are real earth chakras? Actual interdimensional points in which the energy is much more vibrant and rich? Yes, indeed, there are, but not as many as the Cabal would like you to think. The new Earth Mother, Sophia, also has an evil double, the Sophia Code, of which encompasses the entire solar system. This is what has sparked the New Age and Cabal focus on the quote-unquote return of the sacred feminine. To tell you the truth, the sacred feminine never went anywhere, nor was any gender higher or lower than any other. This was a form of for and against that was created, causing a separation and fueling energy collection. The Cabal, at the instruction of their masters, erected churches and temples upon these chakra points in an effort to not only collect worship energy, but to stagnate the real Earth Mother from healing and reunifying. Granted, the majority of the energy collectors are on the fake Sophia grids, ley lines, but we want you to know that the actual sites, these Earth chakra points, actually were what they were intended for. In the times before the fake grid, the Earth had unencumbered energy vortexes, portals, and energy points capable of traversing the densities and dimensions and able to completely link up all of the Akashic data nodes, as well as all of the possible information within the actual Akashic records. If anyone were to visit one of these sites, then they were privy to unencumbered downloads regarding innovation, spirituality, and records on many species and their worlds. They even had the means to go to those places within the blink of an eye. We now jump to the present day, to one of these so-called sacred sites. We will pick Serpent Mound for this example. On this site, it depicts a serpent holding an egg. This egg is supposed to be the symbol of what I just aforementioned. But there is a little snag. The serpent is holding the egg. No one noticed because they are too enamored with the wondrous energy of the site. Now, is there a wondrous aspect to this place? Yes, indeed. But just like the last solar eclipse, there is an underlying thread of both information and consent that just does not need to be given. What I mean is this. Think about it. You have someone who wanted to inform us in this day and age who was stealing our egg, quote unquote. Yet they would not just come out and say it for fear of being overrun by the darkness. So the yield in this case is this site, a so-called sacred site with all the markings of both good and evil, energy collection and enlightenment all in one place. And like the eclipse, people are encouraged to take it all in without discerning whether or not doing so is for their highest good or not. This is what the enemy counts on. You taking in and agreeing to or consenting to having your energy stolen when walking on one of these sites. You still can take in the appropriate energies. Just do not consent to having your energy stolen from the hijacked chakra point. Also, I also encourage anyone that visits these sacred sites that they bring shungite with them. This will also help block some of these deceptive energies. There is also yet another aspect to this that we have only very recently been made aware of. Remember when we informed you all about the abuse of sacred geometry, quote unquote? Well, I found out how deep this actually goes. Granted, I spoke about the dying chair demons at the bottom of ancient octagonal energy collectors. But what if I told you that some of this energy collection is on the photonic or light level? Mixing math and science with magic and mysticism. I found in my astral travels 5 different layers for 5 different types of energy collection. 1. Sexual energy. 2. Aggression, fight or flight energy. 3. Muscular nerve energies causing MS, MD, and other forms of nerve and muscle disorders. Granted, the rest is alien experimentation, but I digress. 4. Regurgitation of behavioral traits to cause the aforementioned. And 5. Genetic memory siphoning or lineage curses. The viruses and manipulation associated with said behavioral changes, lineage curses, and the like were created by aliens here. In each of these layers, there are 5 different individual beings with minions collecting each of these energy sets and spewing a form of static back out into our world via photonic and light particles that are actually AI. Also being routed through the moon, and you guessed it, the Arconian binary network and energy harvester networks, respectively. Some of these are seen as sacred energy orbs or spook lights. Yes, I have said that spook lights are indeed the harvester spheres, but they are only a piece of a much larger puzzle. There are good fairy orbs too, folks. Not all is lost and bad. Each one of these beings sits in a chair or quote-unquote throne in their lair, taking in energy for themselves and regurgitating that which will gain them the most energy in return. Years ago, I saw beings in space doing this same thing with giant scoop-like energy collectors. I even found a duplicate of Yaldabaoth himself. But I very recently learned that he is one of this layer's linchpins, if you will. If these layer linchpins were removed, I feel their realms would collapse. I have seen at least 3 of these layers. One of them was very Halloween-y in nature, with burnt trees and trapped beings, rocky spires, and even trapped guides. I found Running Horse in such a place. This shows that these beings are not omnipotent. They are like us, just on a different level. I saw another that was made of bright skies, clouds, and a spiral citadel floating in the clouds. Yes, there is a sky city, but this was not it. This was a place where the Sophia Code had prominence, where sexual energies were being absorbed and repurposed. To anyone seeing this place, it would feel sensual, mystical, and all around cool, but it is anything but. Another one is a fake hell, quote-unquote, realm, perpetuating the belief that hell is for the damned. That realm is referred to as Cicatorius, or the siege. Battles being prepared for in an effort to keep people here in a warlike readiness state, and a belief that hell actually exists. Against this is a thought form created by not only the beings there, but by those who believe in hell so very strongly. These beings will also throw up illusions to remote viewers and seers, making them think that this area has been collapsed by a single seer or seers or person, or that this is where quote-unquote damned souls go when they die. I also feel that this part of the energy nexus point is anchored within a dark galaxy. Remember, these sites have interdimensional doorways, as well as distance ones as well. As Simeon said in the last show we did, both sides, the perceived good and evil, divide, were created by the same dark source. Even though we know now that both Draco reptilians and the winged Nordic Orion quote-unquote angels are both underground, in that other realm there are Viking-looking minions with horns, just as in a so-called higher vibrational dimension. There are winged angels in church steeples and are fueled by the clockmaker AI signal and worshipped by humans that fuels the rest. I will recap from the notes I took. All sites on intersections were placed there to take energy. 5 different levels with guards. Each being is within a planet or realm machine that can see and feel the other levels. I feel these are the thrones as listed as one of the 9 orders as said in the Bible. Chair demons fall under this as well, and these are those 9 orders: angels, archangels, principalities, powers, virtues, dominions, thrones, cherubim, and seraphim. And I believe the chair demons and these beings in these chairs and these other levels are the thrones. One of the levels said as angels in the Bible. Look up Yaldabaoth and Demiurge. This applies. I did not know a lot about Gnostic views, but I've been channeling about them the whole time, and I didn't even realize it. I see these as historically backed up validation. They saw the material world as evil, i.e., the Matrix, both said in the movie and as a concept itself. They think they control the masculine and the feminine. There is no sacred masculine or sacred feminine. They are illusions created to divide us and label higher and lower. Both sides of what we know of as good and evil were created by the darkness to perpetuate separation of as above, so below, also to collect energies, when neither concept truly applies. Just the moment. It is lesser or greater real photonic light, not meaning the good side prevails in us all, meaning quantumly speaking, we are all made up of stardust. All of this separation and worship fuels the illusion. Each chakra site reaches into a multi-dimensional nexus, making it possible for these beings to slowly siphon energy. Worship fuels this, and I cannot emphasize that enough. People make bigger energy collector sites because, quote-unquote, God or, quote-unquote, the gods have told them to. Channeled or inspired by the AI clockmaker signal and these other layers. The giving back of some energy or commandments by God. Some of this energy exchange is in the air itself. You, quote-unquote, consent by not filtering out the energy collector energy versus the actual chakra point dimensional energy. This consent can come in dreams and in fantasies as well, meaning daydreaming, fantasizing, etc. Hence, energy farming. Each of the 5 beings take a different energy type. Divided into types, they can handle and distribute the energy easier amongst themselves. Each being is located in a very different energy layer or nexus point. We would see all of these points as sacred geometry, when in fact, there is no such thing. It is important to know that the geometry magic is neutral. It is how it is used. I know Michael and Germain are famous for utilizing sacred geometry, and they have even been quoted as either creating it or owning it in some fashion, but they just use it more than most. This seems to be their area of magic science. This does not mean the shapes are sacred. This just means they are a powerful tool in the hands of whomever wields it. This is how the triangles fell to the whims of the bad guys. Knowing this geometric truth will set us free from its misusage by darker forces. See, they're already screwing with my voice box. There we go. We are all made up of light and shadow, masculine and feminine energies. Being whole and sovereign and authentic to the moment, negates control latent upon us. All of creation is sacred and wondrous. No one sight over the others is any higher or lower than any other in depth, or nor height of energy, only minute or major energy frequency differentials. There are frequencies of apparent higher and lower bandwidths. They are merely slower moving or heavy or faster moving or lighter. Sometimes they are spread further apart or closer together as well. I found that out since I wrote this as well. Even the concepts of faster and slower are still very inaccurate and understated, but this is closer to the truth than higher and lower. Even though one feels higher, one feels lower, it is more of a even scattering across multiple frequencies. Our frequency builds momentum, so to speak, therefore feeling as though we are lifting, which in fact we are in a sense. Or slower feels as though we are sinking and falling, though it has nothing to do with speed, just how you deal with and adapt to the new energies and your life lessons. Yeah, they're already starting. But for the sake of argument, higher lower equals faster slower. It also depends on one's perception point whether or not an area is dense or heavy. This is why the Cabal workers could not feel the heaviness on Thumb Butte after they laid the Sasquatch and Lyran trap. They just see it as work. Aspects of this expression are a distortion. Distortion equals sacred sites, the term sacred sites. Distortion equals as above, so below. Distortion, any separations from source, i.e. religion, going to a priest to reach God. No one needs an intermediary. You are God. You are source. You are sacred. You are one with all through your individual sovereignty, choice, and authenticity. Sophia code no more. Do not give any energy to this. Integral in setting up the grid. The matrix and Gaia, Uranus, Saturn, and the Earth Mother in Greek mythology. Birthing and regurgitating programming, the birth of Venus. Through Venus, though Venus was a real being and still is a good being, she was trapped once as well. Real Sophia installed a flaw in the matrix in order to make it so we could rise out of it, but also appeasing the darkness, which would be a yield. The real Sophia is still benevolent. And finally, remember this phrase. I do not feed the earth grid my energies, nor do I feed the sky my adorations. My energies are my own and belong to no other being, no matter where or when they reside. I hold respect for the earth by not feeding the grid. I hold reverence for the sky by not adorning nor adoring those on Most High. Joanna?
So, after all that, guys, is your head spinning? It may be, it probably should be. Layers upon layers for sure that were put into play. So let me try and recap a bit and give some more perspective. So we came from source. Yes, we did. And we are still a part of source. Yes, we are. We just wanted a playground to learn and grow. In order to make this playground, there needed to be an illusion set up. So every aspect of the illusion that is a bit different from what it is to be source is called a distortion. Now, we are trying to figure out this illusion we are in, and so we are trying to learn all of the different distortions from source. We already know that the concepts within duality are distortions, And we all know that domination and control is also a distortion. But did we really know all of the distortions used within the domination and control? I don't think so. And this is the sampling, is what Chris has been talking about tonight. So yes, it is all about draining your energies and keeping you in agreement to keep doing it. This has been the plan and continued plan of the darkness. So now you found out that it is pulled from us in so many different ways. By stepping on designated and sacred sites, keeping us in a for and against, keeping us angry and fighting, having us to worship others and other entities, because worship itself is a giving of energies behavior. Sending our energies out to things we thought needed healing, but it was a trap. And I could go on and on. And now we know that there were programs installed to keep us on target with the giving away of our energies. These programs began so long ago and even got to the point that the aliens no longer to be visibly present in our world because we were farming ourselves. So I have to tell you that if you watch shows just like Ancient Aliens, and there's many others that all seem to see the pattern of these other beings being here a long time ago, and then they're gone. It is a truth, although the why has not yet been fully discussed on these shows. These truths are also mentioned so many times in religions around the world as well. Again, in a historical sense. Did the Hindu possibly have it right when they mentioned so many other beings, or to them, gods? Knowing what you know now, we all should give pause to the many different religions who speak of other beings. Even in Christianity, most are open to the concept of other beings, those angels and devils, although many cannot accept a subtle devil, but only one so in your face, like that is depicted in the Exorcist movies. Which again, you have to be open to that very intelligent darkness who made you believe it could only be in the extreme forms, and thus the intelligent darkness and its minions spend most of their efforts in the less noticeable but more damaging zone of oppression. Now, of all that Chris has told you, let me bring in another factor. We have spoken about those humans who decided to experience what darkness was all about by having a more kind of demonic life. These people are born into the world this way and will cause a lot of havoc. But they are skilled and hard to really spot. We have called these people inborns. I asked not too long ago what percentage of the human populations were inborns. You know what I was told? About 2%. So there are currently over 7.5 billion people on this earth. 2% of that is 150 million people. 150 million people here to screw with the rest of us. Now, I do not know the breakdown of cabal versus regular human, and I'm not saying all cabal are inborns because I don't believe that's true. But I guess I am saying that there is a good chance that somewhere in the circle of the people you may know one of these. And in all honesty, that kind of should be enough to try and live through, in my humble opinion, because I've had to live through it, but I guess not, because then you have all the other issues going on. So now that we are all thoroughly disgusted with this knowledge, now what? Do you feel it is too overwhelming? Do you feel we are too far gone? Or maybe you feel like me and think, oh my God, we should be so proud that we can get out of bed and put several words together and actually say a complete sentence. And I mean this. We should be proud that we are getting to the point of figuring it all out. Now again, darkness spent some time also programming us to believe that the hurdles to overcome were actually just a few. This was a plan to get us to give up and acquiesce to the life we once had so they could maintain control. And this is what's happening right now to many people. How many times do you have to hear it is all just right around the corner, the fix, let's say, if you are trying or believe, hard enough that it's going to happen. Then what happens? It does not come. And so you figure you have just wasted a lot of your time listening to bullshit. And you feel bad about it. So you stop listening to it all. Again, all a plan, convincing you this is what is needed to do, needs to happen, and then set you up for the disappointment. It is a control mechanism. And you know this because we have used the same mechanism with our children. Let Johnny experience it so he has such a bad experience that he won't do that again. Right? Haven't we done that? And I'm not saying that it isn't an effective learning tool, but it can also be devastating too. In our opinion, it is our opinion that this current spiritual mindset must be looked at, and a better perspective of what is actually going on must be given to help people from this type of stagnating disappointment, because it can truly devastate people, which is the goal of the darkness. It is my understanding from the guides that they actually are amazed that we have gotten this far. I know I've said it before, and I will continue saying it. I have been told that we humans still do not know all that we have been through, and to just understand that we have no idea of how strong we are, at least from their perspective. So I say it to ask you to give yourself and others a bit of a break. Taking time to take in this information may actually mean taking a break from it all, just to let the information settle in your mind before ever reaching your heart. I know at times I have personally zoned out, you can ask him, a bit if I am feeling overwhelmed with information. So I certainly understand if others feel the need to do the same. So again, what do we do with all of this? And this is where I have to say, knowledge is power. It is hard to conceptualize that when you bring new information into your own awareness, that energetic changes begin to occur. If you could see yourself and your energies in full, you would see a cascade event begin. Then another cascade event would begin as you just stand in the presence or proximity of others. Here, without a spoken word, certain energies are exchanged. And this allows for the soul to now decide what it wants. This is why none of this is being allowed to be discussed in more of a mainstream manner. The energetic cascade would be enormous. But do not be fooled. Getting this information out in whatever form changes the dynamics. So, a big thank you to YouTube and all the other communication platforms out there, because they are helping to make this difference. And we have said before that rising in frequency, or as Chris has refined for us, vibrating at a faster rate, makes it possible for us to just bring in more information in our consciousness. So these truths regarding domination and control are beginning to come out and be questioned as a natural process of receiving more of these downloads. And everyone is bringing in downloads, not just those referred to as seers. And as we vibrate faster, we also are less susceptible to some of the tricks that worked so well for the darkness in the past. We will move past all of this, some faster than others, with no pace being wrong, because we are meant to. We are doing it. For me personally, I don't mind trying to work through all of this at a more accelerated pace. And I say that with kind of tongue in cheek, because I have been told that both myself and Chris have been pretty retarded at times.
And yes, we said it.
And I wish I could argue back with that, but my heart knows that it is so true. I do not know what the record is for how many lifetimes it takes to learn a particular lesson, but I feel both Chris and I thought that the highest number 1. So, and then we would see our guys face plant their heads into their hands on a more than just one occasion with us. So I do not want you to think these layers mean we are defeated with no way out. Really, it is all about how long you wish to remain where you are versus moving on into the new curriculum. And if any of you are like us, it's the sooner the better. So keep up declaring your sovereignty right to have all the life you want, and understand that there is benefit to knowing some of these truths to help accelerate us through some of this detangling process. And just 2 more points I want to make are in regards to a couple of things that Chris said. One of them is regarding Serpent Mound. So as Chris said, Serpent Mound really is a site that was set up for a multitude of reasons. One of them was to kind of have something in place to make people aware in the future that there were spiritual sites of importance where these energies were there. And then what happens? Here comes darkness right along and piggybacking on top of it. That has happened over and over and over again in many sacred sites. What I like is when I see seers and different people start saying the same thing. And we don't view hardly anything that's out there. But one day, someone shared something with us, and we looked at it, and I was really pleased. Because, Chris and I very much believe that in the coming years, for a period of time, humans are going to develop certain spiritual tools that are going to be helpful in cleansing away negative energies. The one thing I can say that other seer was talking all about was the exact same thing. So it was so pleasing, because this person who, able to kind of look ahead in history, was just trying to reassure people that we are learning and growing, that tools are going to be used, and after a period of time, most all of these sacred sites are going to be cleared up by humans with these tools. There's going to be groups going out doing it. So it was thrilling for me to kind of hear that confirmation, because that's what we believe by another seer. So again, we're not trying to be Debbie Downers. We want people to understand what's been going on around them, because the quicker you know, the quicker you can change it. The other thing has to do with the sacred geometry. So I just want to restate again what Chris said, so you don't misunderstand. In the realm of source and everything is one, nothing is more sacred than the other. Okay, so that's kind of just a bottom line conception. When a lot of people wanted to figure out what's going on, their comparison is versus source, versus, the ultimate, versus, source of the ultimate God. What's the truth? So what we've been trying to do is explain to you the concept of distortion layers put in to cause this illusion. One of the things has been in geometry, where they start using sacred geometry. Now, both goodness and darkness would try to communicate with you in a way that you could understand, to either be manipulated or to grow. It's just how it works. So beings like Michael or beings like Jermaine, they're not dark, but they utilize things in a conceptual way that people understood, that certain symbols they could actually attach learnings to or whatever, and people would, bring it in that way. This stuff is done all the time. So in the concept of distortions, don't make an assumption that every distortion is bad or every distortion is good. It's how it's used. And so if you've been listening to us for a while, you've seen this pattern over and over and over again, that we keep saying, discern what's right in front of you. Don't try to categorize it. Discern the message right now in front of you. And it's going to be the same for all of this stuff. So no, Chris is not changing. You're not changing your mind about Michael. You're not changing your mind about Jermaine. You're not saying what they've done is wrong. No. It's just the understanding that this is how it, from dealing with source of all things, and then how the illusion was made and how things were done within the illusion, that it's considered a distortion, because nothing is more sacred than something else. So with those clarifications, Chris, what does the Galactics have to say about all this?
I know while you've been talking, there have been a couple of beings that have tried to come in. The ones I pointed out that had the robes, the Viking look, and the nub horns, they've been trying to stop this message from getting out. And so I'm having everybody else block this. So I'm trying to actually find a legitimate galactic here that will talk. I elect Isaac up there because he, or Cameron, or Balzer, or who are out of you, Libby, any of you want to actually talk since you're in the room, or Napan or Raynok or any of them, or even the gnome. All right.
Do you want me, while you're getting that done, you want me to read what you had pre-channeled?
Yes.
So Chris actually, Simeon had come in and done some things, and actually Simeon wanted to give a little pre-channeled communication. Obviously he must have known this was going to happen. So I'll read that to you. Simeon here to tell all of you now that just because all of what has been spoken about is indeed a truth, that there are still true miracles and wonders to behold out there, as well as on earth. Your matrix is a fierce one, but not as fierce as your sovereignty holds. Hold true, hold fast your energies, and see the wonders that still can fire up your souls. Blessings to you all. Simeon.
Okay, and I know who is going to talk. If any of you listening have been listening to our Patreon, we are going to have a video eventually. And these people were mentioned on a very recent Viking Interstellar Council as well. They called themselves the Fjorgi. and they are very good at helping block certain signals and certain beings. And Fjorgi, they are from the Boots constellation. I won't give too many details. The details are all going to be in the Patreon video. But this skull here is a turquoise skull. Little one here. Got him in Jerome, Arizona. And he contains, this is the edifice for a being known as Napan, and his brother Ryum, who is also here. So I know that the Fjorgi are quite capable of very heavily blocking a lot of these signals. So even if the other edifices in here couldn't quite communicate it. So okay. I'll just hold this. Hold his edifice. And what? Another stone. Okay. Oh, one of these. Okay. Just so you know, he's having me hold this stone we recently discovered here in Prescott, and it's called Arizona Black Jade. So let's see what Napan and Ryum have to say. He's melting away a lot of the blockages. If you wondered what I was doing while she was talking, I was trying to get rid of a horned guy in a robe. Let's see. Good evening. I must be brief, though my kind can block these signals from these so-called saintly figures. We can only do it while channeling for a brief moment. No, there are real things in your world that you could consider sacred, but this does not mean, as what was said, that any place is any higher or lower. Your dark factions created this division to strip you of power. The very ones we booted out of the Boots constellation, the dark Anunnaki, you call them, are responsible for this, or archons, you call them. They are soon to pass, like a storm on the horizon. They are to be defended against, but they are to be ignored as having any sort of power. Also, those in these layers, who could also fall into the archon category, even though they have very distinctive, different looks than your long-headed bad guys or your horned bad guys. These layers are to not be fed, though they will try to get you to pay attention to them. The photonic technology they use seems mystical and wondrous, but the real mystical and wondrousness of your cosmos is within you, not just to be taken from a so-called sacred site and the information therein, but you are a multitude of dimensions in yourself. You are a universe. You are an omniverse. You can take in this information just as easily as the beings that suck the energy from you can take that. You are stronger than them. They are old and decrepit. Yes. But are you? No. Even your oldest human alive could very easily take on one of these creatures. Now, are there some of their henchmen that are strong and would require a special forces operative to fight? Yes. Those will be rooted out in coming years. I am talking about the ones that rule the roost, you would say. Very easily defeated by a change in your perceptions. These changes will come and must come. I must now detach from him because of a defensive measure that I and my brother Rayum must take. I am Napin and my brother Rayum, and we both thank you for listening to us now. Goodbye. He wanted me to use that other stone to ground the transmission with. Oh, he's saying a wand made with that type of stone would aid in grounding channelings. So, just a side note, he says. Now they're parking their butts outside and just sitting there. It may seem like they're just sitting there, but their presences tend to scare off most creepy, crawly bad guys. So in history, they creamed them pretty badly. So
it's the ultimate of sit-ins going on right now.
They just sit there, and they could just be sitting there combing their hair, and they'd be defeating the bad guys. So yeah, we call these guys space hippies because they're so easygoing and very pleasant to be around. They're big, Titan like guys, but they look like cartoon characters, but they're very cool. So they speak with this like Norwegian accent, and so they fueled some of our language in that area. But they're very cool beings. So with that, I believe we are coming up on the end.
Yeah, and this really may be a little bit of a shorter show for us, but I think it was so packed full of information and understanding that, so I know some people will want to listen to it again, but again, take your time, listen to what we've said, send us any clarification questions. We'll do our best to, answer them publicly, like this, just let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I will say the last affirmation and blessings. May all of you experience what it truly means to be miraculous, and may all of you see yourselves as the miracle that you truly are. That way, you are free. Blessings to you all, Simeon. And with that, thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of The Lifting. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Have a great week.